Once again, participants, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our facilitators, can we all please rise up to welcome? We welcome the Director General, Chief Executive, and the Chairman of the Governing Council of Wkshp&Mgtment National Institute for Labor Studies. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Singing solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. Victory, there is victory for victory. Victory for in the struggle for our members. There is victory forward, ever backward, never, in the struggle for our members. There is victory. Please, before the opening prayer, Dr. Famro to join on the high table, please. Dr. Mrs. Christiana Famro to join them on the high table. We'll remain standing while we take Mr. Dafe Otobo to also join on the high table from the University of Unilag, Emeritus Professor and former Vice Chancellor, Eastern Palm University, to also join on the high table. Let's take the national anthem. Arise, O compatriots, Nigerians call obey, to serve our father's land with love and strength and faith. The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and might, one nation bound in freedom, peace and unity. We'll remain standing while we take the opening prayer, and that is the second stanza of the national anthem. O God of creation, O God of creation, direct our noble cause, guide our leaders right, help our youth the truth to know, in love and honesty to grow, and live in just and true. Great lofty heights attain, to build a nation where peace and justice shall reign. Thank you very much. We may be seated. Once again, on behalf of the Honorable Minister of State for Labor and Employment, the Chairman, Governing Council of Wkshp&Mgtment National Institute for Labor Studies, and the Director General, Chief Executive of MINILS, you're welcome to this 2-day strategic planning workshop and management retreat. Now, permit me to recognize the presence of the chairman of the occasion. Is no other person than the chairman, MINILS Governing Council, Chief Frank Ovie Kokori. You are welcome, sir. Africa. We also have here seated the guest of honor is the resident representative, FriedrichEbertStiftung, Dr. Daniel Mann. You're welcome, sir. We also have here the chief speaker is Professor Dafe Otobo. You are welcome, sir. Also, we have here one of the speakers, facilitator. She is Dr. Mrs. Christiana Famro. You are welcome. And we have here the host is no other person than the Director General, Chief Executive of MINILS, Comrade Issa Aremo, member of the National Institute. You're also welcome, sir. We also have the Governing Council members here. We have here Mr. Osamo Diamen Osayade from National Universities Commission. You're welcome, sir. We also have here from the Nigerian Employers Consultative Association, a member of the Governing Council, Mr. Adeniyi Ologun. You're welcome, sir. Also, another member of the Governing Council from the Nigerian Defense Headquarters, Major General J. Orokpo, retired but not tired. You are welcome, sir. Also here, we have our speakers here. We have Professor Felicia Olasende Williams from the University of Ilorin. You're welcome, ma'am. From the Michael Imodu National Institute for Labor Studies, we have the management staff here. We have here Alhaji Mama Kede, Director of Finance and Accounts. We have Mrs. Laide Ajiboye, Director from Social Protection Department. Pastor Ayorinde Ezekiel, Director, Entrepreneurship Development Department. We also have here the Director for Service Innovation, Mr. Olushola Olagoju. The Director from Planning, Research and Curriculum Development Department, Mr. Edwin Anisha is also here. The Director from Labor Management Relations Department, Dr. Olu Adams Jakaye, your presence is recognized. From the special duties, we have the Deputy Director in charge of that division, Mr. Emmanuel Ojo. You are welcome, sir. We also have here the Deputy Director, Human Resource Management Department, Mr. Danjuma Lawan. You are welcome, sir. Also, from the Academic and Distance Learning Program Department, we have the Assistant Director in charge of that department, Dr. Silvanus Adamadi. You are welcome, sir. From the Trade Union Education Department, we have the Assistant Director, and that is Mr. Michael Raji. You are welcome, sir. Also from the Academic and Distance Learning Program Department, we have an Assistant Director present here, Mr. Adekunle Tinoye. You are recognized. From the Labor Management Relations, we have Mr. Ajayi Razak Adeyemi. You're welcome, sir. From the Planning, Research and Curriculum Department, we have an Assistant Director there. She is Alhaja Amudat Mukpelola Ibrahim. You're recognized. From the Labor Management Relations, an Assistant Director there is Mr. Joseph Blaze Olga. You're welcome. And from the System Engineering Department, we have an Assistant Director, Mr. Ngozi Agomo. You're welcome. We also have here the Chief Auditor, Mrs. Alhaja Hazan Salamatu. You're also welcome. And we also recognize you, gentlemen of the press. We also have here the chairman of Nigerian Labour Congress, Kwara State Branch. You're welcome, sir. We also have Comrade Akin, the chairman, TUC, Trade Union Congress of Kwara State. You're also welcome. We also have here the immediate past chairperson, NLC Women Wing, Kwara State, Alhaja Saka Akpalandu. From Niwosek, we have Dr. David Ehindero. You're welcome, sir. Once again, standing here before you, I have my co-anchor,
Damilola Omole.
And I am Rachel Solomon, all from the Public Relations Department of the Institute.
Thank you very much. At this juncture, it's a privilege to call on the Director General, Chief Executive of Michael Imodu National Institute for Labor Studies, Comrade Issa Aremu, MNI, for his welcome address.
A resounding applause for him, please.
The chairman of the governing council of our institute, our own comrade, our own grand comrade, grandfather, and as I used to tell him, the living Michael Imodu, Comrade Chief Frank Bokori, who's also standing for the Honorable Minister of State for Labor and Productivity. The resident rep of Frederick Ebert Foundation, who I would have called a comrade, but for his height, because at least if it is by height, I can hardly be your comrade. But by values, please help me welcome Comrade Daniel Mann. Because of time lost already, let me please adopt all the existing recognitions that have been made and say I welcome all of us to the beautiful city of Ilorin, the state capital of the state of Harmony, Kwara State. Ilorin, the host community, is the home of the Institute of Choice and Destination for Labor Studies, which is Michael Imodu National Institute for Labor Studies, MINILS. There is a proverb, and I think it's a popular biblical proverb. I'm in the mood for biblical proverb today. And don't forget my name is Alhaji Issa Aremu. It's also the name of Jesus Christ. It's a prophet that we all respect very well in Islam. But there's a biblical saying that where there's no vision, the people will perish. I think it's Proverbs 29:18. Where is Pastor Ezekiel? You have to guide me. I hope I'm familiar with this quote. With this proverb, it means that where there is vision, the people and the nation will actually flourish. MINILS is a product of visionary Nigeria. The institute was commissioned on Wednesday, 4th of May, 1983 by late President Shehu Shagari. At the management level, as part of our new vision for institution building and preservation of institutional memory, we have set aside 4th of May as annual MINILS Day. This great institute was set up specifically to foster and promote industrial harmony in the country within the context of the 3rd National Development Plan. That plan lasted from 1975 to 1980. That singular historical plan had among its objectives a strong and dynamic economy, a just and egalitarian society, and a united, strong, and reliant nation. The current 2-day strategic planning workshop and management retreat, which we are holding today, is very, very timely. I want to commend President Muhammad Buhari for returning Nigeria back to the path of National Development Plan. After decades of structural adjustment plans and hard work, IMF, World Bank, debt servicing reforms, which indeed actually underdeveloped Nigeria. Precisely on September 19th, 2020, President Buhari inaugurated the National Steering Committee to oversee the development of a new Nigeria Development Agenda 2050 and a medium-term National Development Plan, MTNDP. This plan succeeds Vision 2020 and the Economic Recovery Growth Plan, ERGP, which lasted from 2017 to 2020. The main objective of the new successor plan is to uplift 100 million Nigerians out of poverty within the next 10 years, particularly given that Nigeria has been singled out as a country that will become the world's 3rd most populous country by 2050, with over 400 million people. One critical question for our assembled resource fellows here, and please help me appreciate all of them that we have called to be here, from my teacher, Professor Dafe Tobo, to all the distinguished resource fellows. One question we wanted to help to answer for us here today is that what is the role of MINILS in the new National Development Plan? After 38 years of commissioning this institute and 33 years of commencement of workers' educational service delivery, it is now time for stock taking by MINILS. Have we realized, please, you have to get seated when I'm talking, no movement. No movement. It is time for stock taking by MINILS. Have we realized the mandate of the institute as part of the 3rd development plan? How far with the vision of this institute that says that we shall be the regional center of excellence in labor studies and globally renowned labor institution? Our mission, which is there on our website, says that we are to build the capacity of workers, employers, and government officials in labor and industrial relation matters through training, research, education, and institutional linkages to promote labor management relations, best practices, as well as promote industrial harmony for sustainable development. How far have we realized this mission? These are the questions today. As I'm talking to you now, the doctor strikes, the strike by the National Association of Resident Doctors is still on, in spite of the reported order of the National Industrial Court. I also heard that ASU may soon return back to the trenches. Of course, we know that we are 3 months strike by the judiciary workers over the issue of autonomous funding for the judiciary. What is the role of MINILS in the existing industrial hemorrhage, which is rampaging in the country, given the prevalence of strikes and work stoppages? What is the role of MINILS in promoting decent work? I agree with Mike Zuckerberg, the promoter of Facebook, even though I'm not on Facebook, but I agree with one remark that he made, that the biggest risk is not taking any risk at all. In a world that is changing really quickly, the only strategy that is guaranteed to fail is not to take any risk at all. I want to say today that MINILS must take a risk to come out of its current obscurity, to promote advocacy on labor education for national development, which also promote industrial harmony. And I think it's important if we take the doctor's strikes. Professor Tobo is there. He's our mentor, our teacher who taught us. I think it's time for us to, all the labor market experts, to be able to comment on what is going on. Why should we have perennial strike? Why should agreements not be respected by whoever signed the agreement? Why will salaries of workers, in particular also doctors, be delayed for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months? And why are we not taking advantage of all the existing industrial relations dispute resolution machinery? First, there should be collective bargaining, there should be collective discussion, there should be dialogue. And if it fails, ministers should be able to be the reconciliator. If that couldn't work, we have the industrial arbitration panel. If that fails, the actor is supposed to go to National Industrial Court. Maduagu is here. Please, a round of applause for him. You know much about these labor laws. And now we just constituted the National Advisory Labor Council, made up of government, federal, state government, the organized labor, NSC, TUC, NECA for employers. We've just concluded. So Nigeria is very robust institution for mediation in the world of work. Yet we're having this series of disputes in our hand. What is the role of MINILS? I think MINILS is in a position to be able to make pronouncements. And above all, my understanding is that there's a serious gap in terms of knowledge about industrial relations. And this is what MINILS should be able to do to upscale our educational service delivery in a way that we can be seen that we are connected, to national development agenda. And I raised this just last week. The head of service organized a virtual meeting for chief executives of MDAs and national institute throughout the country. And, that's Mrs. Esson, the head of service. Please, a round of applause for her. She sent an agenda for how to build capacity for the public service in the next 4 years. And I pointed out that, yes, we've been doing a lot of training, on how to have smart offices, how to build capacity on budgeting, on a couple of issues. But the missing link is to build capacity for all the government personnel, in particular, on industrial relation issues. But MINILS too must come out of its obscurity to connect, to be able to be of relevance in the challenges facing the country today. And there's no in this country that can pronounce on what is going on industrial relation issues than Michael Imodu, National Institute for Labor Studies. I want you, in a special way, to help me appreciate the chairman of this council, our comrade, Chief Frank Kokori. For me, I'm not just a DG to my chairman. I'm actually a son who he mentored. I started my working career with Nigeria Labour Congress in 1987, 88. I belong to the second generation, not sure, maybe third generation of graduates that will go and work full-time with the labor movement. And Comrade Kokori was then the general secretary of the most dynamic, progressive industrial unions in Africa, National Union of Petroleum and Gas Workers Union. And he presided over that decision of NEC to bring us to the labor movement. Because the labor movement then led by first Alhaji Hassan Sumanu, of course later on Ali Chiruma, believed that the future of trade union is to build capacity to get people who are well-educated, young activists. And of course, some of us used to be, very peace-loving activists when we were in the university in those days, even though you call us troublesome. But that qualifies us to get, recruitment to the labor movement. Even with that applying, no letter of application. Not only that, Comrade Kokori was my senior, where I eventually did my master's studies, the International Institute for Social Studies in Netherlands, in Den Haag. I was there 1989 to 1990, if I can recollect very well. But Comrade Kokori was there between 1983 and 1984, where he himself had a master's degree together with Comrade SOZ Ejiofor. I think it's time for us to have an alumni of the best institute to have labor studies in the world, which is ISS in the Netherlands. I think Dr. Yahya Hashim also was there, who eventually did his PhD there, and recently we have partnership with him. Now, I'm raising the point of Comrade Kokori because we have somebody who believes in this institute, who believes that we must reposition the institute. The controversy that faced his initial appointment to become the chairman of NSITF. I'm very sure you face that controversy, but I said so to our comrades in the NLC that the real destination, the natural home of Chief Frank Kokori should be MINILS, because this is an institute named after #1 labor leader in Nigeria, Michael Imodu. And today, this is a living Michael Imodu, as far as I'm concerned. He has paid his due. He went to prison for 4 years. He was kept in solitary confinement, but he's still on his feet for justice and fairness. Please, a round of applause for him once again. And what made me even more excited is that I think, as the Honorable Minister said in the program that we did 3 weeks ago in Abuja, Minister Festus Keyamo said that we are living in an exciting times in MINILS. The chairman of the council is a comrade. The Honorable Minister of State is a comrade in his own right as a tested senior advocate of Nigeria and of the masses, Festus Keyamo. And yours comradely, I'm the first comrade to head this institute. So we can talk of triple comradeship, running the affairs of MINILS. And if we can add comrade Dr. Mann, I think now we have 4 comrades. We based on our partnership that we are running here. So I want to appreciate the chairman who has really within a short time tried to reposition the institute. We had the first inaugural council meeting about a month ago. And when we finished that meeting, I whispered to him that this MINILS must connect back to the stakeholders. And quickly, Danjuma, our own director in charge of human resources. Please, a round of applause for him. He did very well to make that meeting possible. Quickly went to NSC, and Comrade Kokori led the powerful delegation to Nigerian Labour Congress leadership. The NSC president was there, and from there we also went to Secretariat of TUC. And the pledge we got there was remarkable. You know, they've made a pledge now that Hamatan School, Rain School, they will come back to Ilorin in full force, so that we can really use this institute for what it's meant to be. So I want to say that my chairman, you are welcome. And I think we have also arranged that when the minister comes on Thursday, we will take you around to also pay a visit to our Royal Highness, the Emir of Ilorin. Please let me say, Shehu. I'm very sure, man, you don't know this, but he will give you turban where we take you to the palace. But the whole idea is that the institute must connect back to the community. One of the first things I did when I became the DG was to go to the community where our institute has been located, the host community. And it was very revealing that the Magaji of Olunlade said that he had never seen, a DG visiting them in their community. And they also raised the point, which for me is very shocking, that no single staff, no single son or daughter of that community has been recruited in the institute, even when they made effort to make it possible. I think we should reconnect the institute back to the community where we are. And the community starts with where we are, of course, in a city like this, and of course, the country as a whole, as much as possible. I want to say here that the president has laid bare the new vision, which I said development plan of for what they call it, Vision 2025. But this vision poses a lot of challenges. And I want to say that we can't translate some of those challenges into action without sound labor market policies, the critical success of which is capacity building for working men and women, workers, and their trade unions on industrial relation matters. So again, this is where MILS must come in. The implementation of those myriad of policy options contained in Vision 2050, of course, depends on the quality as well as quantity of public personnel, the quality, and of course the number of personnel, public personnel dealing with industrial relations that we could train. Sadly, and I want to say this because we are here for frank talk, sadly, MINILS seems to be missing on duty. When we compare ourselves to National Productivity Center, which came in 1988, we came much more earlier. When we compare ourselves to National, what do you call it? They have this long name, National, I serve on the board really, but I'm always confused with that name. National Salary, Income and Wages Commission. Mrs. Famra, are you still living on minimum wage? You look like somebody living on profit. You know about Wages Commission now. The Salary Wages Commission was established in 1993, which means we are 10 years older. MPC came about 5 years after us. But, they told us last week when they visited us, the National Salary Income and Wages Commission is on the steering committee that is driving the new development agenda, because they are even chairmaning one section. Already told us that way. Then the DG of Productivity Center also told me similar things, that they are co-opted on now to drive the new development. I think we too must be on duty to make sure that we all to this agenda, because there's nothing they will do there that do not have implication for the workers, and training of the workers is extremely very, very important. Again, that's why this our strategic retreat is very, very important. And let me appreciate our staff or our director with research and planning, and all the staff that make this possible. Please, a round of applause for them. But I'm also not surprised why MPC Production Center and the Wages Commission have been able to do this because they have been operating based on strategic plans. The Production Center has development plan which they developed from 2002 to 2012. And they've renewed it again to the current 10 or 5 year that is running. Wages and Salary Commission, I serve on the board. And one of the things I insisted when I got there was that there must be development agenda. And they've now worked out a plan for 5 years. So what we are doing here is very, very remarkable. MINILS has done very well over the years to do some training. And we can document all those things maybe later on when we come around to do so. Workers have been coming in large number, and in recent times, they're even coming more now that with the new renaissance or arrangement that we are putting in place. But we have been doing this in on a hard work platform. We don't have any strategic development plan. So the idea of this retreat is that we should work out a 4-year development plan from 2021 to 2025, which of course is going to be renewable over the years, but we have to work out the action plan, how we are going to implement it very well. So I will round up now by appreciating once again the President of Federal Republic for deeming it fit after the recommendation of the Honorable Minister for making this very gentle, non-troublemaking comrade to become the first comrade DG of this institute. And for me, it confirms the labor-friendly orientation of this government, which you have identified several times. But in a special way, help me appreciate Frederick-Ebert Foundation. The Frederick-Ebert Foundation, we've come a long way, both in my career at the NS, as well as General Secretary of Textile Workers Union. And I'm happy you are putting on the cloth produced by my industry, which means you also patronize Made in Nigeria. Please, let's appreciate man once again. I'm not sure what the date to use now, but I know Frederick-Ebert Foundation is about 45 years old now in Nigeria. But this foundation is 100 years old because it was formed as far back as 1925, if I get it right, which means we're about 100 and something 6 years. And that tells you how institution works. I think we should appreciate Frederick-Ebert, the fellow the name was named after. He was the first German president after the First World War. Yes, Frederick-Ebert. And on his sickbed, he instructed that all donations for his funeral should not be used for any lavishing ceremony, but rather all the donations should be dedicated to a foundation which should be dedicated to human development all over the world. And we are benefiting from this kind of vision today. I think the lesson here is that FES is a product of a deep vision by the founding fathers. We too must look at our vision so that we can make it sustainable. We are just less than 40 years now. I hope so. We are just about 38, but we pray that we'll also be up to 100. But it has to be rooted in vision, which we must work out today. And we have a powerful team of people who talk to us on that. I think Professor Otobo, you unpack some of these issues for us much more later. But as I'm going to quickly wrap up now, I think what I need to do is to say we have a lot for us to discuss, and we have the management team here, the council members, so that the council members are not just meant to attend the governing council meeting periodically. They should also become drivers of our agenda, but they can only drive what they are party to. And I'm happy to say that all of them are here today. Please help me appreciate them once again. And this council is very, very rich. It's also based on tripartism. We have labor represented there, 2 representatives, and the NSC has done very well for the first time. They sent a woman to be one of the board members. And I think I always say women are great. I can see my sister, Iyabo, no controversy. but they are great only when they attend meetings, not when they come late. I wasn't happy that 2 of them are not here for one reason or the other. No excuse. They need to prioritize so that they can represent labor, because this meeting is extremely important. We also have NECA. Please help me appreciate NECA. Unfortunately, my very good friend, the NECA, Mr. Mukikan, couldn't come here because he's indisposed. May God give him a good head and good recovery. So, so the last one, and I think I'm coming down now, I know we are behind schedule, is that I want us to please, after this deliberation, I want our resource fellow to let us evolve new organizational structure for MINILS. New organizational structure, which include the promotion of decent work through education, not just through education, even by our actions. When I came in, I was shocked that we have outsourced workers at the institute. That's bad enough. But we also didn't pay them as I went in. Close to about 3 months salaries. And I decided to clear it immediately, even at the risk of no resources for us. Even though me too, I'm not sure whether I've not been casualized now, but that's a different story. So we need to have organizational culture that will promote decent work. And we're planning to mark October 7th every year, which is International Day for Decent Work. And the ILO has agreed to partner with us. FES, we also look forward to your participation. Even where we do our programs, I'm serious about this program. It's fascinating to me. Why should we patronize Remy? Please, a round of applause for Remy, because for me, this is the real face of FES we know. My very good sister, who do a wonderful job. He told me he has been complaining. He came by 8 o'clock. I say I possibly came earlier than you, but the program, the way they design it, I think there is internal communication. Because we have our chairman, I believe in punctuality. So I've been resuming work before 8 as a matter of routine, because I believe that we can't get our jobs done if we behave the way we used to behave before, in which DG will come by 11, 12, and of course the directors, I don't know when where is Mrs. Adiboye, I bear witness, she's always coming depending on but she's speaking up very well. She came very well today, maybe because of respect for Remy and the man. So we need to build that with our culture. Which hotel do we patronize? Must we be in a hotel where workers are not unionized? I'm serious. Under my leadership, we have to go to where workers are unionized. You can't, where they are, that workers are protected. You don't take us to where we take money there and they turn workers to slaves. It's about our value. So we must ask those questions. Then we need hard work, smart work among our staff. I've said so, about attitude to work, it needs to be improved upon. Then we need inclusiveness, not exclusiveness. Please help me appreciate all my directors. They are really doing very well to carry out this vision, but we need to do more to open up. I've not seen much of connectivity between departments. Everybody operates in silos. I don't appreciate what training is doing, and they are willing to delay. Again, training, they are eager to make a case for honorarium. I think we have to keep many things here. There are camera here, but honorarium must also be linked to where the money is coming from. So all of us have to work together, but that's organizationally. But even in the society as a whole, our programs should include all. Not when we say workers also have different categories. There are women, there are youths. So we need to specialize design program for them. There are people who are living with disabilities. And I've seen that there is also ability in disability. In fact, we have agreed now that we are going to be marking every year the International Day devoted for taking care of people living with disability. I have to underscore this point because this morning, and that's the last point I want to raise, I have to tell our people. I was telling Anisha, where is he? You see there? He's always in and out. He will send a stage and disappear. But let me appreciate him in absentia. But I told him this morning, something just occurred to me. I said, no, can we invite our union officials to be here? Local union officials. He had his own argument, it's a managerial thing. I said, of course, it's managerial. You know, but when you want to set strategic agenda, those that we drive together must be party to the discussion. They must listen, especially at the opening ceremony level. So if you invite TUC, you invite NSC, and I think they are here. Where is the NSC representative? Who's that?
The chairman.
They did recognize you. They did. You come to the IT here. Please, a round of applause for him at the back there. TUC. Yeah, from Remoto. So I said, if they are here, we should even invite our local union officials. And I hope they are here. Where is the senior staff association chairman? Is Victor here? Victor, oh, you're a union man? No, that one doesn't live on Naira. He lives on God knows what, but we'll find out. A round of applause for him. What of the Nasu? Nasu. She's not here. It's a woman, but I insisted they should be here so that they have an idea of the vision of where we are driving. I even some contractors, other people who are doing services for us, when they met me this morning, I said, you should come over here. So you should see what we are discussing so that you have an idea, not that you collect money, you disappear, you don't mobilize. You also do poor quality jobs. You don't appear when they are doing financial bidding. You send proxies. You know, I'll be wondering what they, so that they know that we are to make accountability for the running of this institute. So we need that inclusiveness. So once again, I want to thank you so much for this very brief, not so long opening ceremony, opening remark. And the whole idea is that I hope we have proper interaction. So by the time we come here, we set the template to have the first strategic vision for Michael Imodu Labour Institute for the next 4 years. Thank you very much.
I think the comrade DG deserves a more resounding applause. I have the honor to recognize the presence of the representative of the Honorable Minister, that is the Controller of Labor in Kwara State, Mr. Yusuf. You are recognized, sir. Now, it's time to listen to remarks by the MINILS Governing Council Chairman, Chief Frank Okore. Resounding applause for him, please. There is victory for us in the struggle for our members. There is victory for us, forward, ever, backward, never. In the struggle for our members, there is victory. Isoweto, Aluta, Victoria. Thank you very much.
Victoria
Asata.
Ladies and gentlemen and comrades, I'm happy to be here this morning with you guys. I'm happy that Issa Remo is here, the new DG. He has spoken nearly everything. Somebody I knew very long time ago, and he has been a very active activist in the country, and I think he's carrying his trade union to an unimaginable length because he's now a DG. You are no more a trade union leader. So you are now in the corporate world if you have to lead a parastatal. But he's always talking unionism. And look at now, you're talking of management, strategic seminar. I thank the Friedrich Ebert people who are partnering with us. The Michael Imodu Institute had been virtually dead for years, and I was very frustrated when I was removed from the NSITF to Imodu, and I know I talked to you people at my age. I felt I could not network again, and I came to meet a bundle of village headmasters and teachers running an institute that we had so much hope. In 1983-84, when I was here with the President Shagari to inaugurate this institute. And seeing it in 2019, when I came in here as the chairman of the governing council, I shed tears. It was like a village high school. So I was frustrated with my crop of governing council members, very high quality governing council. Governing council where you have 2 directors from NECA, presidents and secretary generals of industrial unions, 2 from the labor movement, where you have a general of the Nigerian Army, you have a commissioner of police of the federal government, you have the director of trade union services, the Ministry of Labor, you have the NUC, a director from the Nigerian Universities Council. Everybody was frustrated. And we could not do anything because we take decisions, we go away, decisions are not taken. We're using our own resources to travel. For some time, we'll be reimbursed. The place was actually, at that time, I don't feel at my age, I could network. So that's why I'm very happy that I now have a person like Issa, who is still very young. And he has done a lot of networking for the past 3 months he had been here. And it's visible, because we never saw anything like that. I could see that your program is power-packed. I don't know how you will go through it so fast for 2 days, because a lot of things have been invited, so many people and so many species. I don't know how we can do all these things, because I believe that when you go to such places, you should have sufficient time to relax, enjoy yourself. But I'm happy. I have a long relationship with Friedrich Ebert, because I remember that during the struggle for freedom and democracy in this country, at the stage, the whole struggle was on my head to free my country from military dictatorship. The Nigerian labor movement had to disappoint the oil unions. It betrayed the oil unions. And it became the responsibility of Nupeng and Pengasin to fight the military dictatorship. It's like you passing through rain. Obviously, you'll be drained. And in that process, some of us went to prison, and I was kept in one of the worst prisons in Africa. 4 years in solitary confinement. But the world unions all over the world rose to my support. I remembered in 1998 when I came out of prison, as far as Norway in Oslo, as I entered the airport, I saw boycott Nigerian oil. every nation I went to, up to the United States, until I went to the George Mini, to the AFL-CIO, where I was awarded the Great George Mini Award as the most outstanding labor leader in the world for 1996. But I remembered Friedrich Ebert played a role when my children, young woman and the boy, they were in their early 20s. They just came out of the university in 1993, 94. And they were helping their mother when I was in prison to campaign across the country. And their life was in danger after Kudirat was shot. Then the next was Kokori's family. I think the Friedrich Ebert and some internationals like the AFL-CIO and the Dutch Federation and the Amnesty people were able to smuggle my 2 children to the Netherlands and from there to the United States of America. Today, the children are still there. I'm happy to see you, all of you today. This is a management strategic meeting. I will not forget to appreciate my members of the governing council, all here present. Appreciate all of you people here present. The young man here from Friedrich Ebert, I know what I'm talking at that time. Maybe it was in a secondary school, somewhere in Germany. But I know too that the German people have contributed so much to my training, because I remembered as far back as 1978, one of the first big programs I went to was in Benau, in the then East German Democratic Republic under President Honecker. You must have read that in your history. And we were there for 3 months in Benau. That was in Germany, with their federations. So I've dealt with all the federations in the world, the big federations. I know, so I'm happy. Let us pray for the Institute. Let us pray for people like Issa Rebu. He was lucky, he was exposed in this country, and he has a lot of connections, like the way I was when I was young, like him. And today he's utilizing it. But the governing council we have our eagle eyes on him. And we are watching him. And we know that with him, we shall move forward. So forward ever.
Backward never.
Aluta.
Continua.
Victoria.
Assert. There is victory for victory. There is victory for in the struggle for our members. There is victory for forward ever, backward never, in the struggle for our members. There is Victoria Aluta. Thank you very much. We may all be seated.
Thank you very much. Right about now, I'd like to invite for the address by the Friedrich Ebert-Stiftung Foundation, the president, the resident representative, pardon me, Dr. Daniel Mann.
Thank you. Thank you so much, comrades. I'm not yet the president of FES. That is a little bit over my pay grade, but thank you nevertheless for the introduction. Comrades, Comrade Jer, if I may call you a comrade, always humbling to speak after you are a person of your personal contribution to the struggle, not only in Nigeria, but in the world. So next time I would beg the program auditors to place me in front of him so I don't have to speak after my chair. Comrade Isa Remu, I always have to speak after you because then I can make sure everybody is properly welcome and I can stand on existing protocols without running the danger of forgetting anybody of the great minds and voices who are assembled here in your beautiful city of Ilorin to mark our strategic planning meeting of Michael Imodo Institute. For me, it's an honor, but also a personal pleasure to be here on quite a short notice because I have to commend Comrade DG for his efforts right after he took office, I think, to revive not only the Institute, but also our partnership between the FES and Michael Imodo and indeed MINILS&FriedrichEbertStiftung and the labor movement of this country. My comrades and the speakers before we have already alluded to a lot of our history. We've been here since 1976, so I won't go into details on that. But I think on this particular day, allow me to point out some of the reasons why we are here. And why we are here not only to support the strategic planning meeting, but hopefully with your vision in mind to start a new partnership, and hopefully a long-standing partnership to ensure that Michael Imodo Institute's contribution and the vision of its founding fathers are implemented in helping the development of the Nigerian workers, but also Nigeria as a whole. As Comrade Isa has rightfully pointed out, we share some similarities in our founding, at least when it comes to the great man our institutions are named after. Michael Imodo, obviously the first labor leader of this country, one of the most outspoken fighters also for the freedom of Nigerians. And you could also call him, well, certainly not the first president, but certainly one of the founding father of these great nations. He came from very humble backgrounds, as you all know, as a railway worker, but also Friedrich Ebert. He was not only, like has been said, the first president of Germany, in the first Republic of Germany, first democratically elected president at that, but also coming from a very decent background. He was a settler. So he was making chairs and saddles for horses actually in that time. And it was unimaginable for the people who came before him when Germany was not a democracy, when it was run by kings and queens and emperors, that somebody who is not even of noble blood, let alone of a decent profession, could run a country. So with that being said, I think the same idea is in Friedrich Ebert's name, like you have right pointed out, and also Michael Imodo's name, that education is key to get more people where they stood, to bring the people upwards from wherever they are, from the host communities, from their backgrounds, to contribute to their nation and indeed the world. So I think this is why we are here. This is why we believe in this shared cause of education, not only for workers, because, you know, we've done this a lot. We do it with NLC, we do it with TUC, we also do it with the textile union. And I also have to thank you once again for the garment. This was actually a present by the textile union. So and obviously we're also enjoying the programs very much. I think in the last few years, thanks also to the remarkable work of my colleague, Comrade Remy, in the relaunching of our trade union work, in the transformation of things we have done in the past, the transformation of our union engagement with both of your noble unions, actually Nupeng, our landlords in Lagos, and also Textile, who is also one of our closest friends. And I think we can learn from this experience and also bring it to the board when it now comes into making Michael Imodo Institute a hub, a center for workers' education, but also for labor studies and education in a tripartite sense. Because let me also take this opportunity to once again appreciate this effort, which was done, well, 36 years ago, but is still here today, to actually create a center where all the people have stake who are forming labor in the world of work, which all of you live in. Let me appreciate the Employers Association for taking part in this, also the government of Nigeria to taking part in this, and to share this common belief that only through transformation in the world of work, we can transform a nation or the world. So for that, I think we are at the right place in the right time. We are very lucky to have our good comrade Isa as DG. We are hoping to go forward a long way with that. FES, we have been around, as the comrades have spoken, people before me when I was not even in have already, I think when my father was in secondary school. FES was already in Nigeria, part of the struggle of liberation, part of the struggle of Nigerian labor, and we will stand to this commitment. I think we have proven we are not going anywhere easily. Even if people try to force us out, we are not going. And for that matter, we're always happy to see regenerated spirit, new ideas, new vision to come forward on our shared cause. For that, you will always be welcome for our other resources, because as nice as it is to have a meeting once in a while, as you all very well know, and I think Edwin, you've already talked about some of those visions, we are involved not only in Nigeria, but all over Africa and all over the world in labor education, but also labor studies. We have remarkable resources at the Global Labor University, which is hosted in Johannesburg and also in Kassel in Germany. We have a lot of expertise on our hands, and we are more than happy to share all these contacts, all this expertise with you. Because as it has already been said, and that will bring my contributions to an end, the world work is changing very fast. And Comrade Isa has spoken very wisely, pointing out, we have to change too. We have to take risk too, to move forward, to not be overtaken. And I've heard the mention of the the director for digital education and things like that. We have a lot of expertise in this, especially over the last years. We are always happy to share that. We are looking very much forward for these two-day proceedings. And we are hoping that this is the start of our ongoing partnership to increase the value of labor studies for this country, to increase education of workers, and to also do our share in bringing this nation forward. So with that being said, thank you all for being here. Thank you for having us. And I hope you have a very fruitful conversation and a very clear vision after these 2 days on how to go forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Comrade Mann. Permit me to quickly invite to the podium for his own goodwill message, solidarity message, the NLC chairman from the Kwara State branch, Comrade Murtala Olayinka. Can we give him a round of applause?
Permit me to stand on the already established protocol. The Nigeria Labour Congress goodwill message presented by Comrade Murtala Said Olayinka on today's 24th August 2021 at G Pinnacle Hotel and Suites. Permit me to stand on the already established protocol. On behalf of my chairman, Nigeria Labour Congress, Comrade Alhaji Ali Isa Ore, who is unavoidably absent, I welcome you all to today's epoch event, training on strategic planning for high sustainable performance, organized by Michael Imodu National Institute for Labor Studies, supported by Wkshp&Mgtment, FES. We are not surprised of this because this institute is established by Cap 261 of the Law of Federal Republic of Nigeria as the only tripartite institute in West African sub-region for providing workers' education. This institute has undertaken extensive initiative aimed at building capacity of workers and the union, promoting exchanging between industrial relations parties in the interest of industrial harmony. On this note, I want to salute and equally appreciate the courage intake of the present Director General of Michael Imodu National Institute for Labor Study, Comrade Governor Alhaji Issa Aremu, MNI, for bringing back the glory of this institute that almost eroded. Therefore, I want to wish every participant on this training a good sense of assimilation and better understanding to attain the greater height that the training deserves. In conclusion, I want to wish everyone a better stay in Kwara State, Ilani, the home of peace and tranquility. We are loving people, we accommodate. There is a variety of food in our states, such as Fura da Nono, Tuwe da Gbagri, and these are the foods that are not all that common in other states. Long live MNI, long live Nigeria Labour Congress, long live Kwara State, long live Federal Republic of Nigeria. A luta continua. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I'd like to, at this point, call on the TUC chairman, Comrade Akin Akinshola, for his own brief goodwill message.
Solidarity. His Excellency Governor Ramon Abrazak, in absentia, the Honorable Minister of Labor and Employment, in absentia too, the chairman of this occasion, the board council chairman and members, representative of the Friedrichstiftung NGO, the Director General of this great institution, MINILS, members on the high table, all invited guest speakers, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you all to this State of Harmony, Kwara State. And I want to say a very big thank you to the DG, Comrade Issa Aremu, for this change we are witnessing since your arrival as the DG of this institution. Thank you very much. My direct message is going to go to everyone under the sound of my voice to let everybody embrace strategic planning in all our planning process going forward. Strategic planning is the careful and thoughtful alignment of strengths to opportunity available in a given business or organizational environment. And to achieve high performance, strategic planning must include innovations that is distinctive. And because we know that input is always equal to output, but with innovations, input will automatically be equal and greater than output. SWOT analysis must be done at all planning levels during the process strategically. And I assure you, we will have our desired result regardless of various business environmental factors, both specific and general, which would have been taken care of by our design strategy. Finally, business owners, managers, and leaders present here, I encourage us to seek sophisticated training necessary for understanding and usage of strategic planning tools to attain or achieve high and sustainable performance in our various business, organization, and political space and environment. As a member of the Institute of Strategic Management, Nigeria, let me leave you with this parting keynote that we all need to act on after this program henceforth. We should identify what to stop doing, what to start doing, and what to continue to do to accomplish our high sustainable performances. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you very much. It's now time to call on the Controller of Labor, Kwara State, representing the Honorable Minister. and it's no other person than Mr. Yusuf from the Federal Minister of Labor and Employment, Kwara State. Mr. Yusuf.
The Chairman of the Council, MINILS, the Director General, our amiable Alhaji Issa Aremu, the TUC Chairman, BNL's Chairman, member of the Governing Council, all the invited guests. I feel highly honored to be invited as a guest at the opening ceremony of this epoch-making workshop for those who are critical institutional actors in the general administration of the Michael Imodu National Institute for Labor Studies. This workshop could not have been better organized than now, as the whole world is changing from day to day in a manner that's dramatically altering so many policies and practices that had before now held sway as far as general labor practice is concerned. Today, there is nowhere the effect of these changing times is more obvious or clearly shown than in the field of labor and employment relations. It is therefore without any fear of contradiction that I make bold to say that the appointment of our amiable comrade, Alhaji Issa Aremu, MNI, to the exalted position of Director General and Chief Executive of MINILS is by no means a dint of hard work, as well as its national and international accomplishments in the general industrial relation and labor practice. Let me quickly add there that globalization has thrust on us a new world of work. Consequently, there is a great need to sustain the competitive edge of the Institute in the global labor system. In view of this, effort must be geared to further reposition the Institute for continued relevance in the Committee of Labor Research Institutes in the Sub-Saharan Africa, as it were, as well as the world at large. This cannot be actually achieved without strategic planning, and that is why the theme of this workshop is very apt and thought-provoking. Consequently, therefore, organizing this type of workshop has clearly defined the commitment of the new leadership towards creating opportunities for the productive engagement of diverse views and opinions of those that matters in the decision-making process of this great institute. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, may I at this juncture use this moment to, on behalf of Kwara State Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment, welcome all the participants, members of the Institute Governing Council, to this capital city of Kwara State, the state of harmony. For those of us that will be privileged to attend the business session, this workshop is no doubt another clarion call to service and duty on the part of all. We will be treated to a series of thought-provoking lectures by the array of erudite scholars present here in the next 2 days. It is hoped that we will follow the sessions with rapt attention and consequently make worthy contributions. We all know, and we should not lose focus on the fact that institutional approaches remain a high emphasis in policy discourse, and this provides a better opportunity to address development questions and social problems in a systematic manner. As we therefore journey towards moving the Michael Imodu National Institute of Labor Study to further enviable height, it is my prayer that the Almighty God will be with us. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you very much. Without much ado, I will want to hand over to the chairman of the Governing Council of Michael Imodu for the formal opening of this program, after which we will take a group photograph. Yes, sir.
think we all stand up. Without much ado, in the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, today, 24th of August 2021, I, Frank Obi Kokori, have the honor to declare this August occasion open. May God bless all of you.
Amen. A resounding applause for the Governing Council Chairman. Please, we rearrange and then we come here for the group photograph. Please, let's move forward for the group photograph. Please, let's position ourselves for the group photograph. Please let the management join for the group photograph. Management, please. Please let others join them. Thank you very much. It's time for tea break. Okay. We are having 30 minutes for the tea break. 30 minutes tea break. Hopefully we should be through before 30 minutes.
Please let's move out for the tea break so that we can converge back here as soon as possible.
The Governing Council, followed by the Director General for the tea break. Then we have the management staff. After which others can follow suit. The keynote on the unpacking the concept of Labor Institute within the context of national development ought to have been presented while the opening ceremony was on, but because we started behind schedule. Now, the presenter of that keynote is now ready to present it. And I have the singular honor to invite Professor Dafe Otobo for the keynote.
Thank you. I should like to thank and congratulate the new Governing Council of the Institute, along with the new Director General, and also express my gratitude to FES for supporting most of these efforts over the years. Now, unpacking the concept of the Labor Institute within the context of national development. Are we okay? Are we all right? I see we are still taking photographs and all of that. Right. So unpacking the concept of a Labor Institute within the context of national development. Now, let's take the word labor in the Labor Institute, since the focus is obviously on labor. Why is this so? Well, simple. The production and distribution of goods and services depend on the availability of persons to carry out those activities. You will then say yes, but throughout most of human history, millions and millions of slaves were available and they delivered to, responsible for building canals, dams, pyramids, houses, cities, sustaining plantations, and so on. What that means is availability of labor obviously has conditions attached. So in the modern sense, when we say what is labor, we'll be referring to wage labor, which usually denotes paid work, paid employment, or paid labor, as we always say. Specifically, it refers to the socio-economic relationship between a worker and employer, in which the workers sell their labor power under a formal or informal employment contract. These transactions usually occur in what we call a labor market, which you cannot see like other markets, where wages or salaries are market determined. So that's another phrase, market determined. Market determined merely means the person wanting a job accepts the prevailing rates employers are prepared to pay in the first instance, and further agreement on subsequent adjustments over certain periods for non-temporary work. So that creates employment status. Employment status implies a worker could be employed full-time or part-time or on a casual basis. They could be employed, for example, temporarily for a specific project only, or on a relatively permanent basis. That's why I usually laugh when Nigeria says it's a contract staff. But you are contract staff. Depends on duration. So part-time wage labor could also combine with part-time self-employment. The worker could be employed also as an apprentice. Normally, a typical answer I'm given when I say or ask the question, isn't trade unionism the same as labor? The typical reaction answer would be, trade unionism is what trade unions do. I then ask, so what led to the formation of trade unions? There's a pause, and then they think, oh, maybe they were angry, as if, exactly, what else? They will think of other conditions. I said, so what you say trade unions do actually began before trade unions were formed. So when it's trade unionism is not what trade unions do. For trade unionism to occur, which occurs before formation of trade unions, 4 conditions must exist. We mentioned slaves a moment ago. There must be a monetized economy where money is used as a medium of exchange. And the second condition, employed persons must be paid in money wages. And the third condition, those who are paid those wages or salaries must depend on them for survival. It's not casual. The reason is simple. If you depend solely on your wages and salaries for survival, any development in the economy, in the politics, at work, that threatens what you can do with that money will get a reaction from you. And that's why the fourth condition, there must be widespread grievances. Once you meet those 4 conditions, trade unionism becomes labor employed in any capacity. Whether you're a lawyer, you're a doctor, you're an accountant, you're a bricklayer, whatever. When you say trade means the activity you're involved in. It's not buying and selling. There's specialization of some sort. So you can be a bricklayer, a painter, a teacher. You are performing your trade. And any development that will impact on you and how you carry out your trade is what trade unionism is. It will get a response from you. Now, whether you can form a trade union is a different matter. It will depend on a whole lot of factors, including the type of society, the kind of political parties. For example, in Nigeria, there are thousands of employees are declared to be in essential services. So they can form a union. Although I listed those 4 conditions, when they exist, do not automatically mean you can form a trade union. And that's why the typical reply I'm given, trade unionism is what trade unions do, is not correct. Trade unionism occurs before trade unions are ever formed. So how trade unionism relates to national development? The sole aim is an improvement upon circumstances
in which all find themselves previously: healthcare, facilities and delivery, security, law enforcement, education, energy supply, transportation, housing, etc., etc. What are we saying here? We are saying that national development is not the business of any government solely. It's the business of everybody. Individuals, families, communities, corporate bodies, they have their own goals and targets regularly. So the business of national development is to make it possible that they all function and meet their various targets or goals. That's all there is to it, considerably simplified. I'm trying to speed up. So what is a labor institute? We all have an idea of what a labor institute is, especially as its conception and structure is contained in a legal instrument establishing such. MINILS being a typical of these. However, labor institute may be established by private individuals, groups of persons, corporate organizations, civil society organizations, universities and other educational institutions, governments, which we're familiar with, trades union and employers organizations themselves, organizations like ECOWAS or AU, and international interests. So it depends on the philosophy underlying the formation of the Labor Institute. Some will regard it a think tank for trade union activity and other labor matters. That's it. Then it might just be a governmental organization that focuses on labor issues and policies. For others, organization set up for the study of work and work-related matters. The International Labour Organization, ILO, is a United Nations agency whose mandate is to advance social and economic justice through setting international labor standards. Others might regard the Labor Institute, it specializes in, technically speaking, labor issues and labor markets. Others may say, conduct courses in labor management and special courses for management, workers, and officials on labor laws. Let's take the Global Labor Institute in the UK. It's a part of an international network of not-for-profit organizations with the stated aim of promoting international solidarity among trade union organizations and affiliated groups in order to achieve a democratic and sustainable world society. What are its major activities that we might learn from? Developing education, capacity building, research on international labor movement development, general policy, and organizing strategies. It works with global union federations, national trade unions, workers' associations, development agencies, research institutions, workers' education organizations, and NGOs such as Oxfam, which some of us know about, and it states an ideological commitment to the existence of democratic socialism. Now, if we bring all of this back home, what should a labor institute do in the context of national development? Like I hinted earlier, national development basically relates to economic, political, and social processes by which economic well-being and equality of life of a nation, region, local community, or individuals are improved according to targeted goals and objectives. This means also that national development is collective. Sorry, let me rewind. This means that the goals and objectives are set by individuals in private capacities, families, communities, state and federal officials, and the National Assembly. This also means that national development is collective and that whatever targets have been set, the social, economic, political, security, law enforcement, transportation, healthcare, architectures, and infrastructures or policies, and their implementation should enable individuals, families, groups, corporate bodies in all fields carry out their legal activities fruitfully and improve or increase their capabilities. So that's the connection between labor and national development and where the Labor Institute comes in. So what would I suggest for MINILS? One, a working knowledge of work-related activities in the country, the various industries, their physical location and distribution. Two, a working knowledge of the peculiarities of industries, products and processes, structures and governance, quantum of employed hands, and in which capacities. Three, a working knowledge of compensation policies, especially quantum and levels and distribution. Four, a working knowledge of official economic and social policies and how they might impact employing organizations. Five, a working knowledge of official economic and social policies and how they might impact wages and salaries earners. Six, a working knowledge of how employers, organizations, activities, and tactics are deployed. Seven, a working knowledge of the labor movement, organized labor, its constituents, activities, and tactics. Eight, a working knowledge of how state institutions that deal with conflict regulation at work, especially conciliation, mediation, and arbitration, function and the impact they have. Nine, a working knowledge of labor laws, their application and evolution. 10, a working knowledge of the nature and dynamics of the informal sector, so-called informal sector. 11, a working knowledge of the structure and types of labor. How to achieve these aims and goals. Relevant institutions and bodies in both private and public sectors to conduct surveys, just for basic information. 2, offer training and development of skills of targeted sectors and organizations solely and jointly. 3, coordinate efforts with certain research organizations in both private and public sectors, especially tertiary academic departments with well-established programs in desired areas of subjects, NISA, NERA, all of those. 6, joint training and other programs with employers' organizations. 7, joint training and other programs with central labor organizations and trade unions. 8, joint other activities with professional associations and bodies. 9, effective internal training for relevant departments. 10, identifying and utilizing services of experts and specialists and deploying them in all these activities as resources. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for that beautiful presentation. It's now time for observations, questions, and comments. Observations, questions, and comments. If you have any observation, question, or comment, can we indicate by raising up our hand? Observation, questions, comments. And yeah, I have here.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Malaki Ugumadu. Although I walked a bit lately, Prof, that was at least the much I had. Sorry, I elect to stand, if you don't mind. I think that the thrust of your presentation is the need to find the collaboration between these service providers, if you allow me to use the word, and the drivers of policies in a way that maximizes the missing links. That's my question.
Thank you. We want to have it all. Is there any other question, comment, or observation? Okay, to you, sir.
Thank you. Now, when you have a system of a few political parties that function like gangs, any politician anywhere is interested in getting what he wants. So you have a patronage system of the kind that leads to sycophancy and people not carrying out their respective responsibilities even when they occupy a particular position. So what has tended to happen over the decades is that the experts in the private sector, the educational institutions, and other independents are bypassed in the policy-making process. Indeed, it doesn't matter what anyone writes or says about compensation policy in the medical field, for example, like Isa Aremu alluded to. It doesn't matter whether you have a formal agreement, you had some negotiations. It doesn't matter whether salaries in arrears for 6 months or 9 months. Those who ostensibly formulate the policy and those who implement are the same. But more importantly, is the distinction between state and government. State institutions enable the country survive in a particular direction. So whether they are parastatals, now when you say the state institutions, the institutions usually will be the National Assembly, the civil service, the military, law enforcement agencies, police, local government, judiciary, and various parastatals. These are organs of the state. They run the system. When we say governments come and go, the state remains, except you have a war and you are breaking into factions. You can remove the cabinet in this country today for the next 2 months. The state functions. Why? Civil servants go to their job, they have their respective responsibility, the parastatals do exactly the same thing. They run the system, not any politician. The politicians are only interested in saying, okay, I want this particular policy introduced. And of course, I will be in a position to make sure who gets the contract, I'll be saying it. That's all politicians do. So that's why I'm particularly excited about the development in this institute. When you focus on relevance, expertise, knowledge, you can't go wrong. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for that response. In the absence of comments, observations, and questions, we have now come to the end of the opening ceremony program. We are going straight into the technical section. Before that, I would like to introduce.
I'm not sure whether, unless you want to close observation. I think I can hear Mrs. Olaide wanted to speak. She'll speak. Yeah, she wanted to. If you allow it, it's also Victor who's raising up hand there. And I can imagine that Olagunju will also speak. I saw him raising up hands. Dr. Ajakayo, maybe you have the last comment. It doesn't have to be, or you give the vote of thanks for our prof. So yes, in that order, 1, 2, 3.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. I just want to thank my professor, Dr. Dafe Otobo, who happened to be my own lecturer too at the prestigious University of Lagos. It's not only Comrade Isaremu that he taught, MNI that he taught. He also taught me. I'm a graduate. He taught us comparative industrial relations system in Nigeria. I'm one of those who got A in that course. So I thank you very much. The idea is still there. The ideology is still there. And when we are there, he said, we have to learn very well the concept, the ideology of trade unionism in Nigeria. Because he said, without that, we will not be able to graduate University of Lagos. But we did, and we graduated from the prestigious University of Lagos. Thank you very much, sir. We are very, very grateful, sir.
Thank you very much, Prof, for your lecture. Funny enough, Prof is my uncle, but he doesn't know me. I just want to say this. Recently, I got involved in a study that has to do with social dialogue. And while doing extensive literature review and trying to link up with experts, I found that this is one area where expertise has been diminishing over the years. In short, while looking for an authority in social dialogue, I found that it's just one book you published in 2016 that has a comprehensive historical overview of social dialogue in Nigeria. So my question is this. With your generation, sorry, no offense, on the decline, what do we do? Because for me, I see a generational gap. Just using social dialogue as an example, where we hardly can find experts who have been mentored by you or who have followed your trail. What do you think we can do to build back this system where we have mentorship and we have people following the trails of people like you? What can the Institute do? Thank you very much.
No, we give the vote of thanks. Raji, you want to say something? Okay, that's
All protocol duly observed. I want to really appreciate Professor Dabo Otobo, and I'm happy here because you have so many of your students here in the class. And I equally know that you'll be happy seeing your students doing well. And I must say that I'm proud to pass through your hands from that famous, the only metropolitan university in Africa. That's a UNILAG. And well, let's stop the competition in the class. And obviously, you have, with what you have presented, you have rightly placed the importance of a labor institute in national development. But the policymakers, especially in Nigeria, in terms of a resource allocation, labor institute or labor matter is always allocated the least resource. And in your opinion, maybe I want you to advise government and also even the class, especially our governing council, the proportion of resources that should be allocated to a labor institute. If a labor institute should be well positioned to carry out that strategic mandate. Thank you.
okay. I think before Dr. Ajay, we have the final vote of thanks. Even though Mr. Sajiboye has given vote of thanks from UNILAG, but the one from the Institute has to be given by Dr. Ajakai. I just have one or two comments so that Prof can take all this together. First, please, I want you to once again help me appreciate Professor Dafeto, because I know what it takes to get Prof given his tight schedule. And this is not the first time he will do this, so indulge us. Even when I was in the union, anytime we call on Prof, he will always say, create time out of his tight schedule to be around. And I'm so happy that this inaugural strategic summit, plan summit, will come all the way. And honestly speaking, you provided us with enough thoughtful food. I will suggest, sir, that we get your bullet points later, which we are going to circulate to all the participants. But there are one or two points that you raised, which I think, we can really find very useful. The idea that we should identify and utilize services of experts and specialists. And I think this point must sink down to all our colleagues who are here, especially our trainers. One of the first thing I try to, share with my colleagues who are in training and they are doing very good job. One of the things I share with them is that we should have open mind to also look at resources outside ourselves. And luckily, the way the institute has been designed, the governing council is that we are full of resources, especially the tripartite, organized labor. We have the employers, of course, we have the government. And as our chairman always said, I think he has been repeating it, that this institute has the most resourceful governing council. You know, I mean, all the council members, they are experts in their own field. And there are many areas that a good number of them could be very useful for us. Very, very useful. And I could recall when we were having some few challenges at the last meeting we had in Abuja. And our council member representing NUC, you know, me and him share a couple of things on how to manage issue of human resources. How do we get recruitment done without hassle? All we need to do is to open up so that they can be very useful to us. So I think it's important. Even in our regular program, we have implant, we have implant programs. You have to guide me, you know, me to have to go to school of regular. You can see all the regular trainers, they're answering. And implants, I always say that if you have a program on labor management relations, that's fantastic. I mean, all of you have expertise, but also allow, let's open the space for those who are practitioners. You know, so if you are to go talk labor issues, a comrade from trade unions, from TUC or from NLC, who are already texted, who have gone through the whole thing, you should also allow them either as facilitators or even presenters of papers. Recently, Comrade Yorube was with us. I think one program you did on what? Organizational transformation. When I saw Yorube lecturing, I think he deserved title of professorship in its own right. But in the process, he gave practical examples. Again, we have NECA on our on our council, who we should also involve to. So it's a very good point to raise, and I think we should use it. Now, the other one, the last one is that we should also tap on institutional memory. You know, because we need to know where we are going, where we are coming from, where we are, and where we are going. And this institute has produced very strong, I mean, staff, management staff, trainers over the years. Please help me appreciate the founding director general of this institute, the late R.M. Chokumbi. Please, let's give him a posthumous round of applause. The second one, my very good friend, I used to know them in those days as a unionist. You know, I never knew how we end up. We used to trouble them in those days on the floor, you know. Later I came to the board, you know. Please let me appreciate Geminiwa also, fantastic guy. And of course, we can do debate later, but for me, the most dynamic, the most forward-looking DG is Dr. John Olariwaju. A round of applause for him. He's also coming here. Now, I raise this point because we need to, I mean, this our former people who have served, who are around. We need to, I think only my chairman can recognize the last DG because you qualify him several times, and I don't want to use the word, you know, I'm also a DG now. Because the way you are looking at this, you said that I would have mentioned the last but not the least, but this we're in a place that we are doing frank talk. This is a classroom. So when I say institutional memory, I insisted they should bring those who have added value, who had value, who have also improved on themselves. And I think one of the things I admire about Olariwaju is that the way he moved on, he also with the legislative, what do you call it, Institute for legislative studies, he has given a lot of ideas how we can partner, open up, is familiar with FEF, familiar with a couple of development partners. And that's why I also thought we should look around, those who are around. Please help me appreciate Mrs. Famro, who is also here with us. So I've told our people that we should have inventory of active veterans. They are tired, but they are never tired. There are people I know. Mrs. Famro has moved to Savicom. A round of applause. She was there before she left the place. And I think there's no way, I hope we find that very useful when we're talking of, I think I saw something about organizational culture. So you have to come and talk to us on service delivery or any areas that you think would be very, very useful. So what I'm just saying, sir, is that it's a very good suggestion you gave us there. And I think we have to lash on it. Then there is the last one, sir, that you talk about, that we should be having joint training programs with everybody, professional association and co. Prof, but what I expected from you, sir, is to say here you will announce that what we are looking for in Germany is in your Sokoto. What we are looking for Sokoto is also, because Prof is the founding member of NIRA, National Nigeria Industrial Relation Association. Sir, you remember when we had active industrial relations, that NIRA was powerful. With Professor Tayo, please, a round of applause for him. We have to bring all of them back. Fajana, also a round of applause for him. Then Dr. Sugbel something. He later became resident. He wasn't into labor studies, but he used to be resident. He was in, but later I think he joined FEF. I used to see him there. Now we need to have inventory of these people, and when we are doing MINILS Day, we don't even need to wait for MINILS Day. Labor Summit. We need to open up so that they can be part of this new attempt to bring the institute back. That you have also drawn on the universities. I mean, we are drawn on the university. Now, Prof, I hope you are aware that we're also doing a degree program now. Oh yeah, again, that's the disconnect. And I think it would be nice to listen to when we're taking the departmental report. I think we have to create time. So the Adamode, please, a round of applause for our VC. But you are VC, you are not Director General of a small, because my chairman is there, he's recording it. But he's the one handling the academic calendar. We have new set of students now that where I also met it. And I think it's very interesting to diversify our services. They are training some, we had a joint, I think, partnership with University of Ilorin with NUC certification and co, and then they are running industrial relation program for them. Again, I had my reservation on that because the traditional mandate is that we build capacity for the workers. We can produce graduate workers, diploma workers, but diploma children of workers. It's a bit problematic, sir, because you have to accommodate them with all the challenges that go with it. But what I'm saying here, sir, is that we need hands to fine-tune the program. And I think you'll find Prof very useful. We have to create time to bring him to be lecturing those students so that there's content for the program you are giving them. So I'm happy that we are leveraging on that. And I can see from our resource fellow here, there is Madam, I'm meeting you for the first time, Esther Dalong, from the university. Oh, she's not here, she has left here. University of Ilorin Kwasu is also talking of partnership with us on rebuilding our library. So I think this is the way to go. So I'm happy, but I thought, Prof, you will have said, from what you have seen now, NERA will partner with us, just like FES have already done so. And you know how to source money for that. Because I know your name is, on the last note, I've said Prof is my lecturer, mentor, but he's also my publisher. All the books I have written are published by Malthouse. And this is the publisher, the editor used to go through them very well. So if you want your memoirs to be published, I've also said so that we're going to do more of this. I told the chairman that part of the things we intend to do is to also the institute, especially the, what do you call it now, the planning and research department, they are supposed to be, we need to have a lot of analysis of those information on labor market. You know, even the history of unions, we need to publish them. We need to interview, we need to document some of our living veterans. The history of the institute too, there's no single publication now that you can leverage on. I hope that will be a challenge for us, that the first inaugural MINILS Day, where is Anisha? The researcher always is used to that is small silos. But all of us are here. I think we need to make sure we publish the first manual on the history of this institute in the past few years. And you will find Malthouse very, very useful in publishing some of those important documents. So once again, Prof, thank you for this opportunity. And I think now over to Dr. Ajakai. Maybe before you respond, before you come in, Prof, respond to my.
Thank you. As for budgetary allocation, be rest assured that you always be short funded due to existing practices and prejudices. But see yourself, MINILS, as a consultant. That same cabinet office or National Industrial Code, Industrial Arbitration Panel, if you approach any of them, the proposal, survey, the implications of decisions, cases, and judgments for the past 15 years of, say, the National Industrial Code. We want to do a survey. You will be surprised. The National Industrial Code can fund it for you. Even National Salaries, Incomes, and Wages Commission. You know, who determines, for example, who determines the salaries of legislators? Do you know? Determines the salaries of legislators? Revenue, exactly, mobilization. You see, the kinds of things we do. So President Obasanjo creates that and gives the responsibility to revenue mobilization is revenue mobilization. You have National Salaries, Incomes, and Wages Commission. So the first question you then ask, who is the employer of a legislator? Because your employer must be part of the process of determining your remuneration, correct? So there are so many things we do upside down, and these are very straightforward things. Anyway, the point is, even the example I've just given, that National Assembly, in terms of compensation policies and tendencies, they can fund MINILS to look into that. All you need to do is to be target the relevant segments. Like I mentioned, the case of the medical thing. The president or chairman of the National Industrial Code is a good friend, and we talk all the time. They are simply overwhelmed. Yeah. And some of the burden, NIRA, MINILS, can reduce by just little aspect of what they're doing, the implications, and conduct a survey. They will fund it. All major, even the Nigeria Police Force, to conduct a survey of the tactics of whatever you need to deploy the highways, I went by road from Shagamu to Benin last month. I counted 42 roadblocks, yes, checkpoints, 42. Now see, how do you create a society, Shagamu to Benin, 42 checkpoints? The psychological impact alone. It's anyway, you all get what I'm saying. So, MINILS, just see yourself as a consultant, relevant proposals, relevant segment. You'll be amazed how much you will get outside of your budgetary constraint.
Thank you very much, sir. While we were having a break, we had the arrival of the president of Kwara Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines, and Agriculture. And it's my pleasure to recognize him here. He is Mr. Olalekan Fatai Ayodimeji. You're welcome. He came in late due to some pressing official issues. On this note, I want to call on the director in charge of labor management relations in the institute for his vote of thanks, Dr. Samuel Olu Adams Ajakaye. I think the president of Kwara Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines, and Agriculture will take his own goodwill address before the vote of thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, yes, 2 minutes, sir. With all due protocols duly observed, I want to bring to the DG and other, the chairman, DG, and other distinguished personalities here, the felicitations of the Kwara Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines, and Agriculture, as well as that of the Coalition of Business and Professional Associations in Kwara State. We, as employers of labor, we are very indeed happy that the DG is bringing this forth, and we know him is antecedent. We know he's a man with a test for success, and if you want success, you must plan, and plan strategically, and that is what is going on here. Let me say, sir, that on behalf of the chamber, we are ready to partner with the institute. We want the institute has been helping us, but notwithstanding, we also want to move closer to the institute because we need a lot to tap from the resources of the institute. And in the next few weeks, you'll be seeing us, sir, coming closer to you, sir. For the participants, I want you to take this as a form of capacity building. And of course, I must not fail to recognize and appreciate the chairman, whom we all know very well. Our father, Sad Daddy, we are welcome to Lawrence, sir. It says over money. And also the prof. I'm not a student of prof, but today I will say that I've been tutored by prof in the area of labor studies. By prof, thank you very much, sir. So once again, I wish all participants success in this, and please support the DG, because the essence of putting this together is to ensure success of the institute. And by the grace of God, he will be successful, you will be successful, and the institute will also be successful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We can now listen to the director from Labor Relations for his vote of thanks.
On behalf of the veterans of all veterans, Chief Frank Kokori himself, the Governing Council, the Chief Comrade himself, Comrade Issa Aremu, our eminent DG, One thing that we have learned, or that I have personally learned from Professor Dafe Otobo today, is brevity and yet meaningfulness. You were very brief in your presentation and it was full of meaning. So the big masquerade himself has spoken. Reading your comments this morning on an era platform, your exchanges with the likes of Aborishadi or Yonoru, we always get excited because we learn from you on daily basis or on a sustained basis. And for as long as you are around us, we want to keep drinking from your rich cistern of knowledge. And at no time will MINIS benefit from your very powerful suggestions than now, particularly at a time when MINIS is rising to take its proper position among the committee of productive institutions in Nigeria and globally. So the different areas of possible research efforts as suggested in your paper will be explored. We can promise you that, particularly under our able leadership, Comrade Issa Aremu's era is going to usher in a very wonderful epoch into MINIS life. We can't just thank you enough for affording us the opportunity to learn from you again. I want to appeal to you that you must not be far away from us because we want to keep learning from you. And once again, on behalf of the management of MINILS and everybody present here, and our Honorable Minister of State, Keyamo, we thank you and thank you and thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for thanking everybody. Now we have our announcement, and that is after the opening ceremony, which is coming to an end now, all our invited dignitaries will take their leave while the participants stay. And when I'm talking about the participants, I mean the Governing Council of Michael Imodu National Institute for Labor Studies and the management staff. On this note, can we all rise up to take the solidarity song? Solidarity forever. When the unions inspiration through the workers' blood shall run, there can be no power greater anywhere beneath the sun. Yet what falls on earth is weaker than the feeble strength of one. But the union makes us strong. Solidarity. Ah, solidarity forever. Singing solidarity forever, for the union makes us. They have taken untold millions that they never thought to end. Yet without our brain and muscle, not a single will would turn. We can break their haughty power, gain our freedom when we learn that the union makes us strong. Solidarity, solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us. We are the members of the union, and we've just begun the fight. We have learned of members' issues. We have learned of members' rights. We are prepared to fight for freedom. We are prepared to stand the ground. For the union makes us strong. Solidarity. Solidarity forever. Ah, solidarity. solidarity forever, solidarity forever, for the union makes us. Solidarity,
Forever.
solidarity.
Forever.
Aluta,
Continue.
Victoria.
Whether you are taking stock of those who are raising their, and those who raise their face. And I can see NECA, you know, well, I've been excited, you raise your hand. I wanted to tell cameraman to take the picture. That this NECA to the union. For the general, I don't need to, general is looking. So I think with the permission of Mr. Chairman, sir, I think we've also agreed that there will be MINILS anthem.
Yes.
So that we don't turn it to only
Solidarity song.
yes, sir. Because my chairman is a trade union. So, but we agreed there will be MINILS anthem. And I think part of the organizational culture, that's something we can discuss later, is to find a way to also have an anthem that will inspire, you know, the renewal of the institute, and that will complement the national anthem. So that I'm very sure TUC and NSC, my comrades, they are very at home with this song. They are not complaining. Very well, my chairman says so. So once again, Viva MINILS.
Viva.
Viva TUC.
Viva.
Viva NSC.
Viva.
Whatever.
Backward never.
Again, NECA has not said anything.
Thank you very much. We are going straight to the technical session now as our guests leave and the participants take the position. We can sit down. The first